Hello, everybody. Welcome back to season... I guess not welcome back. This is just a welcome to. So, hello. Welcome to... It's a smooth start. Welcome to a million...
Nailed it.
Nailed it. Not gonna go back. This is it. Life's about mistakes. And I think that is a lot of what the show tells us, is that life is about mistakes that you probably can't fix, but it's okay.
Podcasts aren't just one thing. It's a million little mistakes.
There are a million little mistakes. Right, Dave? One mistake is Dave's not here. But we may be getting a message from Dave later today. Hey, everybody. I'm Kevin McCaffrey. I'm here with Jaimie
Hiya.
McCaffrey. And
Can you believe it?
Can you believe
Season 2.
Season 2. It has been a long time since we did this podcast.
Yeah, I don't remember how this goes.
I don't either. It's mainly us talking to each other, which we haven't spoken since the last podcast, which has been rough on our marriage.
So weird.
It's been rough on my friendship with Dave. Right, Dave? But we are recording this. This is not usually if you've listened to this before, and if you haven't, there's a good chance that a lot of people just binge this show to catch up as season 2 is upon us of A Million Little Things. And
that's true.
Welcome. They could be listening for the first time. So I guess first off, we'll tell them you can find us on Twitter at A Million Podcast, and you can find us on Instagram at A Million Little Podcast, and you can email us at amillionlittlepodcast@gmail.com.
Or you can just find us in your hearts.
Find us in your hearts and with your friends, with your friend, maybe with your friend's wife. Gasp. Let's tell people what this episode is. We're not recapping an episode, but that is what all the episodes are going to be from here on out, for basically.
Yeah. We just watch the episode and then we talk about it. And we talk about how much we love Danny, and that's basically it.
That's one of the things we'll basically tell you our 10 commandments, not 10, but several commandments of the show and our opinions of it. But basically, myself and Jaimie, if this is your first time listening, we are married people, and gasp again, another big reveal.
Twist.
Twist. We've been together the whole time, and I'm a comedian. Jaimie is a comedy writer and performer, and our friend Dave Miller, who is usually the third person who joins us. We record from New York. Our friend Dave Miller, my friend from high school, and a longtime friend of both of ours, he joins us usually over Skype from Chicago. And the three of us, basically, when this show, before season 1, we just sort of randomly started talking about it, and we're like, I think we're going to watch this, and we didn't know why.
Yeah, it's about sad people in their 30s, so I guess that checks out.
That checks out big time if you want to know our age or general happiness level. So maybe that's why it spoke to us.
But especially us, too, because we're not generally people who tune into the big network dramas.
Yeah.
Dave is a big-time network drama guy. That's why he's in on this.
Very much so.
But it's not generally our jam. But for some reason, we're like, I think I'm going to watch that pilot. And we did. And then we ended up sticking with it. Listen, did we think it would get canceled? Yes.
We thought there was a pretty good chance, but not really because of the show itself, just because most things get canceled. No, just
because everything gets canceled, that's why.
Jaimie and I work in television, and Dave has worked in TV a little bit, too.
And it's not made by Shonda Rhimes, so it's like, the odds are not good.
Exactly. If Shonda Rhimes doesn't make you get canceled, is the typical rule of television.
Yeah.
And so we've worked on many things that have been canceled, so we just thought, that's the most likely thing, and this will be a good reason for us to hang out with our friend Dave and talk about a show that we're watching for some reason and that probably no one else is podcasting about. And I know there's one other podcast. There might be more Million Little Things podcasts, but the one I know...
Now, copycat.
Sure, yes. But the one I know... I'm not even going to say who it is, but I did listen to a little bit. I'd say it's like actively bad. And as a person who I also have with another friend of mine, a TV writer named John Daly, I have a Sex and the City podcast,
which is very good.
You can follow us at Sex and the City. And there are plenty of Sex and the City podcasts, and like a couple of them are good. So I'm not a hater, you know what I'm saying?
Oh no.
But I think we're the number one of these. So thank you for joining us.
Let's just call it.
Yeah.
We are the number one A Million Little Things podcast.
Yep.
Good, great, grand, wonderful.
Yep. That is us.
I guarantee you're not getting Billy Madison quotes on other Million Little Things
soundboards.
podcasts.
Nope.
Not a lot of crossover there.
Yeah, but we basically decided that we were going to jump on here and do a quick little intro and let you guys know that we're just back for season 2, that we're going to be back and recapping this show once again.
Yeah, we're just saying, hey, just a quick, sorry, just saw this text.
Yeah.
Months later.
Mm-hmm. Oh, hello, shoot, yeah.
Oh, hey, what's up? No, totally, let's get lunch.
Mm-hmm. And I guess so. We gave you a brief explanation of who we are.
Yeah.
And I guess what you can expect. We don't really have a set day that we drop these episodes. But the thing is, most TV recap podcasts are about shows that have already finished. You know, it tends to be a lot of rewatching stuff.
Stuff that you can binge.
Right, so they just come out on a steady day all the time. What we typically will do, though, every time we can, we watch the show and we record it immediately thereafter, so you can listen to it if you want, basically 2 hours after it airs Eastern Time.
Yeah.
So that's typically how we do it. We won't be able to do it this week, and that's part of why we want to jump on and say hello.
This is part preview, part apology, pre-apology.
Expect that from us.
We're already sorry about this season.
I'm already sorry about almost everything, like so many things in my life. I've made a lot of mistakes since the last time we started this.
But you know what? None of us, we all managed to not jump off a building, so good for us.
Yeah, yet.
Even after that show made it look so fun.
Made it look so cool. Yeah. So basically, this week's episode, it sucks because it's the first episode of the year. We really wanted to be able to come at it, but I'm a stand-up comic. I'm performing in Seattle this weekend, so I won't be around, but we will probably record this episode on Monday. It'll drop Monday, recapping season 1 is the general plan that we're going to go with. And then after that, it'll be basically night of most of the time going forward.
Yeah, should be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're very punctual.
We really did.
If nothing else.
Yeah, and we really did try to get the episode ahead of time. We tweeted from @AMillionPodcast on Twitter. We tweeted at the show creator DJ Nash and explained the situation. Said we'd love to hear it. We'd love talking about the show, recapping it. And he faved the tweet and did nothing else. So
yeah,
that's nice. Thanks for the fave.
Thanks, Deej.
But it didn't help. Also, to be fair, I did listen to just brush up on the show again. I listened to the last episode we did, which is the last one before this one in the queue. If you've subscribed, and did I drag him pretty hard about the 9/11 stuff? I did.
Yeah, listen, we came in hot and we left hot. In the middle, we said a lot of nice stuff. I swear to God, it's but yeah, they really. I mean, that last episode. I mean, and that's the other thing about recording right after the episode.
It's emotional.
It's our first thoughts. It's the first things that we felt and reacted. There's no 24-hour cooling down period to be like, maybe we shouldn't yell at DJ Nash so much for making the twist that it's 9/11.
It is a real remember me thing, though, as you pointed out.
Yeah. All you Remember Me fans.
Right.
A movie literally no one but me saw in theaters.
Sure.
A movie starring Robert Pattinson, which you think is just about him falling in love with Claire from Lost in New York, and then at the very end, spoiler, it's 9/11 and he dies in 9/11, and that's just it. It comes out of nowhere.
Right.
I suppose so did 9/11, but you know.
Mm-hmm. So we were a little bummed about that, and so maybe DJ checked in to see what the show was about and was like, well, fuck this. But you know, our opinion on that one detail at least was like, you blew it! So, I mean, like, we do have a soundboard this season with sound effects, so that is that's a difference.
So exciting.
Good. But so that's that. What we are going to do now, though, since we'll get the episode 1 full recap out on Monday.
Yeah.
But what we're going to do now, a little bit, we're going to. Should we talk about? Jaimie, do you want to do the quick season 1 recap? We're going very fast. This is going to be a short episode. But do you want to do the quick season 1 recap, and then we'll talk about the first scene of season 2, which we were able to watch? Sure.
Yeah, they drop. If anyone follows the show on Instagram, you've probably been hit with an ad that's like basically it's like it looks like you're watching two people text each other, and it's basically the first scene of the show, and you can swipe up and watch the first scene. But we'll talk about that later. Yeah, basically I just have my notes that I wrote from episode 1, so they're confusing, but it should give us a general idea of what we were feeling the
couple
first
highlights,
episode. So yeah, the first quote: "Friendship isn't a big thing; it's a million little things."
I'll say that's
titular.
titular, and I'll say it's true.
There you go. So we open on the killers. It's all these things that I've done, and we've got John and our hero, and he's listening to the song in earbuds, and he's in his office, and he walks out, and he jumps right on off that building, and we don't know why. Seems like his life's going pretty good, and there is a pretty serious thud that you hear. I wrote down that thud, comma, damn.
I did just realize he was listening to the Killers. Pretty literal.
It is very literal. Which, I mean, I kind of love. I mean, I love.
It's fine.
Man, I love an on the nose playlist.
We also talked about how the soundtrack of the show really hits people exactly our age, which makes sense because this show's about people in their mid. I think it's about people more in their mid 30s, even though everyone is in their late 30s. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, I forget. There was another song like from the same episode, and I'm trying to see where I put it in, but it was like, oh yeah, Vance Joy Riptide. And it was like, and wrote down like, there was a montage at the end of that song, and I was like, I don't know what genre this is, but it's something.
Sure.
They're definitely, someone's done market research, and someone knew that we'd be like, okay, that's good. So John kills himself. Spoiler. Yep. Immediately. His assistant, Ashley, runs in just as that happens, and she goes about immediately hiding stuff from his office. And as I note later, everyone else is telling stories by a fire, and Ashley is in a Bourne movie, basically. Yeah. Whenever you cut to his assistant, Ashley, she's always like looking at files and making mysterious phone calls, and everyone else is just hugging and crying. It's like two different shows for a while.
Right.
Eddie is about to leave his wife. He's on the phone with somebody. We don't know who at the moment. His wife is Catherine. His kid is Theo. We find out later that Theo's a weirdo and Eddie's a wiener. And Catherine at the time in the first episode is a gigantic asshole.
Yes.
And then she makes a turn right after that and actually ends up being one of the best characters. Gary, psych guy, has breast cancer, is what I wrote down. And he's waiting for some results. Rome is trying to kill himself. Twist, two attempted suicides, but then
quite a friend group.
I know. Jeez Louise, guys. Cheer up. And he gets saved because he gets the news that his friend died, and that kept him from committing suicide. So, and his wife is Gina, and she's from the Vampire Diaries spinoff, the originals, which I was a fan of. I mean, that's the big opening scene.
One hit for everybody.
We see everybody, we find out, and then we get a flashback and find out that these four guys met each other when they got stuck in an elevator, and John basically like kept them calm and talked to them, and they became best buds, and then decided to go to a Bruins game.
Yeah, we see the origin of their friendship. Basically, it came from getting stuck in an elevator, and then they were guys who went to the same hockey game. They got season tickets together, basically, to go see the Boston Bruins play.
Yeah. And then we find out John and Delilah have kids. I wrote down Sophie Guittard, Danny Stripes' kid. Danny would become so much more.
Yes. There's a couple beliefs I want to sum up.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
And then we go to a cancer support group. We meet Maggie, who turns out to hook up with Gary later. And basically in the episode, there's a lot of videos that Rome has taken of the group. Basically, we learn everything we need to know about everybody from like flashback / videos that Rome is watching, which seems like, boy, bud, you really filmed every single part of your friend's life. But
I mean, I think that's pretty good, right? That's
about. Oh, and then the main thing is like they have the funeral. John's funeral is also in the first episode, and Gary shows up with Maggie, who he has slept with the night before. They've just met, and then Maggie instantly becomes friends with everybody because that just works good for the plot. But it's fine.
Yeah, it was weird at the time, but then now it's fine. We like Maggie. So then it fast fast forward basically to the end of the season, right?
Yeah, to the end of the season. So that's everybody's. We get hints also of like the mystery that's going to be in the season 2. Somebody asked like what Rutledge is. I think we hear about Barbara Morgan.
Barbara Morgan was a big mystery name. Yeah,
we don't know what this is, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then flash forward, end of the season. Delilah is pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Twist.
Yeah.
And she's telling people it's John's baby. It's not John's baby. It's Eddie's baby.
Mm-hmm.
And Eddie is...
so that who turns out Delilah was the one that Eddie was on the phone with. Eddie was on the phone with Delilah, who's John's wife, his good friend's wife.
Jesus Christ.
And he was telling her that he was going to leave his wife, but it's a double cheat situation, so she'd have to leave her husband as well for them to be together.
Yeah. And they're totes going to do it, and then John ruins it by committing suicide.
Yep.
Yeah.
Real boner killer. Also John killer. Yeah.
And then, so where we are now is at some point Eddie and Catherine decide that they maybe want to get back together for the sake of themselves and their weirdo kid Theo, who is also great.
He's fine. He's back on his bullshit every single episode.
Back on his bullshit.
Basically, that's one of the things you need to know. Mm-hmm. He's weird, and they leaned into it.
He's weird, and he leaned into it. Delilah is still right now telling her kids that they're about to have a full-on baby brother? Do we know? We don't know.
Don't know that. If we do know the gender, I
we
missed
don't
it.
know. I think I saw Chance teasing that.
Sure.
You knew what it was. And who am I forgetting? Oh, and then Maggie, of course, had cancer, didn't want to get it treated, and Gary was like, "Fuck that." And then eventually she did get it treated, so she's bald, but she's fine.
She's bald, but she's recovering now at the end of the season.
And Gary has a big fun dog, so that's exciting.
Mm-hmm. Gary and Maggie are giving it a shot.
Gary
basically.
and Maggie are giving it a shot.
That's as we come into season 2.
A lot of ups and downs, but
Yes.
they are really going for it now.
Right. Gary and Maggie are giving it a shot. We know that,
Ashley kind of, I think she basically tells everyone all the secrets she knows.
It's hard to remember. Then she disappears, basically, and no one ever worries about her again.
No, she had a lot of mystery files and stuff, and then it's like, I guess John wanted her to go on some vacation, so she just kind of pieces out, and nobody, everyone's fine with it.
Yeah.
And Eddie, for a while, goes out on tour with a band, and
but he doesn't
silly.
really.
He doesn't really. He's always home. And then we have Barbara Morgan is now in the picture. What's her face from Sopranos?
Dre DiMatteo.
That's the one. And then she has a brother or lover.
I think
she lives with a guy named Mitch.
Yeah.
And then they also.
I think that's basically he's functionally their kid PJ's dad, right?
Right. And then they have a kid, Patrick / PJ, who PJ meets the gang at the hospital. They don't know that PJ is connected to Barbara Morgan.
Right.
But I'm sure they will at some point because he's going to call up Maggie because she's a therapist and get help because he's depressed.
Yeah. So basically what we're doing here, and if you've seen the ad on Instagram, which is quite layered, where it's basically a very interactive text exchange between Eddie and Catherine.
Yeah.
That sort of lays out what the first season actually, what the first scene of season 2 actually is. So what that is basically Eddie and Delilah. Delilah's about to have a baby.
Yeah.
That baby is John's.
Yeah.
Or they're saying that baby
They're
is
saying
John's.
it's John's,
But it's
but
actually
it's not.
Eddie's. And Eddie is trying to get back with Catherine, and he is revealing this news in the first scene.
Because she made a really, not reasonable demand that there should be no more lies if they're going to be together.
Sure, after your husband cheats on you with like one of your best friends, you should. If you're going to move on from that, it's cool to be like, okay, but now for real, like let's say things. So in the first scene, basically that's what happens, right? It's after they've made out again and they've come together and they're sort of considering going back together in this first scene of the season 2 premiere, and then he's like, all right, no more lies, I gotta tell you, this is my baby. And then that doesn't sound anything like Eddie, I'm not doing an impression, but that is sort of his vibe. And then Catherine is like, nonplussed, I would say, about it. And then Catherine gets a text from Delilah that's like, I'm having this baby. Delilah does not text Eddie this, or he doesn't have his phone or something. And then Eddie is just like, what do you want me to do about it? And then she's like, I don't know what I want you to do, but you should go be at the hospital for the woman who you are actually having a baby with.
She says you should be there for that baby like you weren't there for our son.
For Theo. And look how weird he turned out.
Yeah,
so maybe that's part of it.
Eddie was too drunk to be there when their kid was born. And yeah, he turned out to be a super weirdo. So... Right. It's probably a good idea to send him to the hospital just in case.
Yeah, so it seems like that's how we're starting season
right out the
season
gate.
2.
Baby mama drama.
Baby mama drama for sure.
Double baby mama drama.
Yes. And so that's what they're all dealing with. And Gary giving it a shot, relationship-wise. Maggie trying to have the cancer, trying to come back and, basically... keep that cancer at bay, I mean, she's like, because it's...
what is she even going to do this season if she doesn't have cancer?
I mean, It's like, right, because she's okay right now, but she's, recovering. She is okay right now, right? It's in like, didn't they get the news it's in remission, or am I making that up?
I think so.
Yeah.
Whatever, or she had surgery. And the surgery went well. She's
decided to fight it, at least. So she's coming back from it, which is cool. We like that. And then Rome and Gina there's some drama about basically Rome really wants kids, Gina doesn't.
Yeah.
Gina's got a restaurant started up.
Yeah.
So that's what she's partners with Delilah on. So that's where they're at. And Rome's trying to fight off his depression. As we said, Rome probably the best representation of actual depression on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Truth.
I mean, that's the main character rundown, right?
Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's basically where we are. It's very confusing. There's a lot of people.
It's a lot of names. And when you have an hour-long
drama... It makes sense when it starts up.
You guys get it. If you're listening to this, you probably know as much or more than we do. Here's a couple beliefs about our show going forward. These are things we've figured out.
A couple little things.
A couple little things. Eddie's a wiener. That's a belief. You guys know that. Hashtag Eddie is a wiener. It's not even that he's the worst person all the time, but just he's a wiener about how he does things.
He really is.
And this was another example of it. It was just like, tell me what you want me to do. How about you be a man and make a choice?
Yeah. How about you don't tell me that you're having a baby with the lady you cheated on me with, and then also make me tell you how to fix it.
Yeah.
It's like,
I would think
in the same sentence, like right now, like, why don't you just fucking figure it out, dude?
You do one thing or the other, and then it's messy, and that's one of the things the show does well is showing like messy gray area stuff about relationships, and that not just lovers relationships.
Kinky.
But also friend relationships, just the gray area and how things get weird, and everything ends. The longer you're alive, the more complicated stuff is, all that shit. But Eddie just is a wiener about how he handles everything. So hashtag Eddie is a wiener.
We said it once kind of as a joke, and then he just kept being a wiener. So now it's a fact, and that's it.
And tell us about Danny. How do we feel about Danny as a show, Jaimie?
I don't know if this term existed the last season, but we stan Danny.
We stanny.
We stanny.
Yeah, we stan Danny. Which is weird because in the first episode we thought the character of Danny, not the actor, but we thought the character was a wiener in the first episode.
We did. We started out saying Danny was a wiener. He was really into like wanting to wear a tie or something because it had stripes and his dad would like it, and it was just like there was kind of nothing there, and I was like, what are they even doing? And then as I was looking through our little my notes from the season, and it's like episode 2, a lot of stuff turned around. It went real fast.
That's good.
It was like Danny's a wiener, and then by the second one I was like, I was writing out as I was watching the episode, like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, Danny. I love Danny.
And then great. Basically from episode 2 through the end, we're like, oh man, Danny's great.
Danny's fun. So Danny's weird, but not in a Theo way. Yeah. Danny calls Gary Garrison. Danny is gay. Danny had a boyfriend, and then his mom ruined it for him.
His mom,
you blew it!
Yep.
Oh, she so did. Delilah blows a lot of stuff.
Delilah blows a lot of things. Am I right, Eddie?
Right.
And then...
but Danny's great.
Danny's great.
You'll hear about
we
it. He
stand
also
Danny.
retweeted us. I think that was like the third episode, but my capital letters, the beginning of my notes was Danny retweeted us.
Yeah, Danny's been a friend of the show, so that's very nice.
He's been so good to us.
Gary Fucks, that's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a thing you should know. Hashtag Gary Fucks.
If not every episode, almost every single episode.
It's implied otherwise. Catherine, we just really like that actress. We think she's very good.
She's just really good.
Even
when they don't give her a lot to work with, she really sells it. Mm-hmm. You believe it.
Romany Malco is really good. We like him as an actor a lot. The guy who plays Rome. Not much of a stretch for a name, but but otherwise he's great. He's very good at being serious and funny. And Gina, Vampire Diaries lady, we like her.
She's good.
Yeah,
I feel like she usually doesn't get a lot to do, but when she does good.
Yeah,
she pops up. She's almost like a featured player.
Yes. And Ashley's fun, too, when she's there. Who knows if she's even there this season. But our friend Dave Miller will always tell you to follow Ashley on Instagram. So do that. And there's a possibility that Dave will be dropping in with a little list of his own. He's at the White Sox game as we speak tonight, and this all came together fairly quickly. That's why he's not here with us live. But Dave might be dropping in with a little voice memo of his own talking to you one-on-one. And if so, that's right here is where that will go.
We are finally here, the season 2 premiere of A Million Little Things. It's been a long, long time since Kevin, Jaimie, and I have been able to discuss A Million Little Things, my favorite TV show from the 2018-2019 television season. We are back. I am loving it. I was unable to rewatch every episode from season 1. That was definitely on my to-do list. Life, unfortunately, got in the way. But if you're a longtime listener, if you're a season 1 listener, first of all, thank you to all of the million little listeners out there for the support, whether it's on Twitter, Instagram, or just listening to the podcast on iTunes or one of the other vehicles you use to listen to podcasts. We truly appreciate it. As you know, we went in depth pretty much on every episode, so it would have been nice to go back and rewatch every episode before the new season, but again, life got in the way. I wanted to just drop in and talk about 5 things I'm interested in before the season 2 premiere. Number 5, who will fill my Christina Ochoa void? Of course, she played Ashley Morales in the ABC drama, but I guess she exited the series. I think she was in 13 episodes maybe. She was in the last few, if you recall. Apparently, she's not part of the show anymore. Who's going to fill that void for me, particularly who is going to step up her Instagram game? Maybe there's a female character on the show that's going to step up her Instagram game to really, really get to that Christina Ochoa level for me. Number 4, just seeing how the continuing storylines are going to go. Obviously, Eddie coming clean to Catherine about fathering the child with Delilah, Regina and Rome disagreeing on whether to have a child towards the end of last season. You have, obviously, Maggie and Gary being together, cancer-free together for the first time. We'll see how, obviously, hopefully they both stay healthy and how they sort of navigate their relationship. And, of course, PJ, kind of a new character discovering the real identity of his father. How will he fit in? Number 3, in an interview with Deadline, DJ Nash said there's a death that happens this season, and we'll see how the group rallies to support each other. That's interesting. So another death, not to be a spoiler of sorts. I did read that article. Maybe many of you did. So that leads to, for me, what new mystery looms. Maybe there's multiple mysteries, but DJ Nash, I was surprised DJ Nash came out and said there is a death that happens this season. I would imagine it's a minor character. That's just my projection. Maybe it is Christina Ochoa's character, Ashley. Who knows? But we should expect a death this year. Number 2, Ron Livingston. I talked throughout last year on the pod how I've loved Ron Livingston and all of his in a lot of his work that he's done over his career. I've been a big fan of him as an actor. How much will we get of him this year? Obviously, Barbara Morgan has a teenage son played by Chandler Riggs. Dre DiMatteo plays Barbara Morgan. We saw PJ introduce himself to Rome at the end of season 1 after finding his script in the hospital room. I think PJ, it's clear to me that he's going to have an agenda of his own here. He's going to be prevalent. How prevalent will John's character be, Ron Livingston? How much will we get of him? I believe we're going to get a lot of PJ in season 2. How much will we actually get of John in season 2? That, for me, is one of the biggest questions. And number 1, Jason Ritter. The addition of him to this cast is huge. Obviously, the son of John Ritter. He received an Emmy Award nomination for his work in Parenthood. I was a huge fan of him in Kevin Probably Saves the World, an ABC series that was not picked up. I believe it was canceled. I still have old episodes on my DVR. It was yanked before the first season completed, I believe. I was a big fan of Kevin Probably Saves the World. Just a big fan of Jason Ritter. He has the potential to be a real wild card in season 2. I'm just a big fan of the addition of Jason Ritter. I am a big fan of the show. I am very excited to discuss the show every week with Jaimie and Kevin, and I'm hoping to interact with, again, all of the Million Little listeners. Thanks so much for listening. Can't wait for a great season 2 of A Million Little Podcast.
Is there anything else to talk about, Jaimie, before we sign off?
Nah. I could list more things I like about Danny, but we can save that
sure,
for
I think
the
you
premiere.
get it. So yeah, thank you for listening. If this is the first time, or if this is the first time in a while, thank you for listening. And this is like we said, just doing a quick little check-in, recap, get us recalibrated to start season 2. And we're going to be sticking with it. Myself, Jaimie, and Dave doing recaps for all the episodes of season 2, and they'll be coming fairly quickly after they air, except for this week, because I am on the road in Seattle this weekend. Actually, if you want to see me do stand-up on Friday, feel free to look me up. I'll be out there. But from here on out, we will be... this week will come out a little late. But
Life is messy. Deal with it.
Life is messy. It's gray area. Is that all we got?
Yeah.
Cool. Follow us at A Million Podcast on Twitter, at A Million Little Podcast on Instagram. And Jaimie, how do we end this?
A Million Little Bye.
Yep.